Good morning, state of Iowa esports community. I'm your host, Coach Clannon with Marshalltown Community College Esports.
And I'm Ethan McGurr, part of the Overwatch team here at the Marshalltown Community College.
And today, we are so excited to host for you the Iowa High School Esports Association's Fall Showdown for Smite. So, Ethan, for the viewers out there, why don't you talk to us a little bit about Smite?
So Smite is a 3-lane game depending on 5 different players. Typically, it's with 2 players supporting each other in the left lanes, and then there's a solo laner who is usually a high damage, high support character. And then up in mid lane is usually that glass cannon, that typical I want to one-shot you and die as fast as I can afterwards. And then usually in the middle lanes, it's called the jungle, which is with the fast sort of assassination style character, where you just want to get the kill and then get out immediately.
That's pretty interesting. So, the thing that I find interesting about Smite is that all the characters are mythological characters, which I think is pretty cool. So today, our first matchup for you guys on stream will be West Delaware versus East Buchanan. So, what are some strategies that you think that we can expect from these teams going in? I mean, obviously, when we get into the picks and bans phase, um, are there certain characters that you think that should just be taken off the board immediately right now? Like,
Yeah. So Smite is it's sort of top heavy in some aspects. Like there's a ton of characters. One of the most powerful things in this game right now, since it is a very mobile game, but global abilities that can either bring you around the map in an instant and just make you the fastest character in the game. Usually, especially at the higher like the actual like professional level, usually get banned right away. Like let's see, Athena is a great pick just because her ultimate ability can take you across a map wherever an ally is. But usually there's a few ways to play the game, but it's a lot of mainly assassins up mid, just try and get that early pick, try and win the fight. Or you can either play protective, play super tanky, and just stall for the late game and just out damage and out heal your opponent in that late game. That's usually what you see in this typical type of game.
so in this tournament, we have Greene County coming in at the 1 seed, CPU at the 8 seed, Lake Mills, the 4 seed, Lone Tree, the fifth seed. West Delaware, who we will be broadcasting right here, will be the 3 seed, playing East Buchanan, the 6 seed. And then New London will be the 2 seed, playing against Vinton Shellsburg, the 7 seed. Yeah, so a lot of schools here from around the state, and we are really excited to see where these matches are going to end up. I always like to see the upsets. It's always fun watching like a lower seeded school come in and clean house. Um, so what are some ways that maybe a lower seeded school could kind of take one of these higher seeded teams by surprise?
So, especially in the early game, just like with that pick oriented strategy, it's not the best, but if you can get it to work, it's hard to come back from. So maybe seeing one school do an unorthodox pick that can typically get an elimination super quick, and then just having them keep going, keep putting on the pressure, or even in this style of game, if it gets to that 40-minute mark matches or even more, one team fight could lose you the game. So you have to be very prepared and honestly just making sure to be patient at certain points, but understanding just when to go in if you are playing that fast strategy. You can win these matches super easily and catch your opponent definitely by surprise.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, so kind of what the game I'm used to is League of Legends, right? So basically, like getting a snowball effect going early can definitely lead you into kind of taking the other team by surprise. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's League. It's super similar to League. The only thing is League is more of the point click movement, while this is the regular WASD, and then it's more of a first person type of experience than League is. But yeah, it is super similar. And yeah, that snowball effect can really make or break your team. It's hard to come back from.
All right. And as we are waiting for these teams to get going, the Iowa High School Esports Association is happy to list off some of the sponsors that you see here on the screen. Uh, we have been blessed this year with a nice change of venue as well as the ability to host here thanks to these sponsors. Sponsors including Mecdyne, BDH Technology, Alliant Energy, Bytespeed, SHI, Undeniably Dairy, Emerson, Fairway, Respawn, Intel, LG, Unified, the City of Marshalltown, and Sub City Wayward Social, Zeno's Pizza, Opa, got our local businesses in there, Game Haven, of course, home to the largest Super Smash Bros. Weekly in the state of Iowa. Then we also have Marshalltown Printing and Graphics and the United States Army National Guard, as well as the Meet Your Destiny in Ottumwa tournament. So, lots of sponsors this year to look at, and we thank you all so much for your support. We would not have this awesome setup that we do this year if it was not for you guys. And so, while we are waiting for these teams to get set up, we will be right back. And we are back. Good morning again, Iowa high school esports community. I am your host, Coach Clannon, and we here have a battle between West Delaware and East Buchanan. So we see some early bands going out right here. Ethan, talk to us about the bands that we see coming out here. Um, on the blue side, we have East Buchanan, and on the red side we have West Delaware. I hope that, or sorry, blue side we have West Delaware, red side we have East Buchanan.
So the bands coming out, like I was saying, a lot of them are going to be these mobile characters. Like Pele, the first band that we see today, is a very strong, just get that early pick, like I said, and that very quick character. And on the right side, Arachne, it's very hard stun lock, slow them down, and kill and get out. The only band that's not sort of following that regiment is the last band we saw with this Anubis on the East Buchanan side. Anubis is one of those power hungry gods where they'll stay alive in a fight, and they're almost for sure going to get at least one or two with them. It's basically a 6v5 with him on the field. But yeah, that's what we're seeing. Thanatos also with this his execution ultimate ability. If somebody's low enough, he could just eliminate them from the game, and we'll get full health back, and we'll be able to run away. It's just like I said with this sort of get in, get the pick, and get out sort of meta right now. Maui's interesting. Maui is very control heavy. He wants to displace. One of his abilities is the hook, so he'll try and hook an enemy in, but he's not really known for being strong, but maybe it's just that hook is deadly on the...
Hey, look, man, some teams do not want to deal with that hook champ, and in the right hands, the hook character can be pretty powerful. And then...
Oh, yeah. And then we're back again. That Zeus and on her, they just output so much damage. Might as well just get them off the board at the start.
All right, and we are going to read off your starting lineups for these two teams. Playing for West Delaware, we have Charles Maloney, a.k.a. WD Echo. We have Jaden Gall, a.k.a. Jaden or Death. We have Lucas Zeiser, a.k.a. Jello Coffin. We have Bane Long, WD Delta. And we have Timothy Swenka, a.k.a. Dr. Nickel Swine. Starting for East Buchanan, I'm going to read off the whole roster here, but we have on East Buchanan Esports 3, Alexander Franzen. East Buchanan Esports 4, Cedric Satgast. East Buchanan Esports 2, Caden Sewell. East Buchanan Esports 1, Dawson Williams. And East Buchanan Esports 5, May McCardle. And we are about to get started here. Love to see the Medusa.
Yeah, Medusa is one of those stun lock characters again. And
Jormungandr, yeah. So excited, the giant worm.
The snake has come into play. Yeah, I say I don't really hate any of the lineups coming up right now. A lot of them are either playing that tanky style or even mixing and matching with that high damage, high tanky style. Like, Merlin isn't known for being super early game, but later in the game, he's probably going to be one of the best picks out there at the moment.
Does he have a Doctor Who skin for his Merlin? He's wearing a trench coat and a suit.
That might be a Doctor Who skin. I actually have never seen that skin before. Interesting. I didn't know Smite did a Doctor Who crossover or not.
Ratatoskr, the Norse god that lives in the world tree. Pretty interesting. My question is East Buchanan 1, Esports 1, is Dawson Williams going to carry the world on his shoulders this game?
Atlas is a really good pick, and who knows? I have seen multiple Atlas players just be able to carry the game and just the world and heavens on their shoulders.
So, I've heard Jesus talk a lot about Jormungandr. I mean, is this like kind of a solid pick?
Yeah, Jormungandr is he's a very stay alive, very protective, and he's in that guardian slot, so he automatically gets more protection, more health than the other gods in the game. But even though he is a guardian, he does a lot of damage in that slot. And typically, you will see him in the support or solo lane, but he does do an immense amount of damage for being a guardian.
Now we are just waiting on this spectator delay, I do believe. And so here momentarily we will get this rolling. So how long is the spectator delay for Smite?
It's
3 minutes?
Yeah, it's usually like 3 minutes. Maybe they change it, but it should be around 3 minutes long.
Okay.
And if that, it could just be the game timer waiting, so it could even be longer than that.
Well, we are excited to kick off day one of the Iowa High School Esports Association Fall Finals. Today we will have Smite for your viewing pleasure. Tomorrow will be Rainbow Six Siege, and on Friday, the biggest game, Super Smash Brothers.
All right, so we're just launching into the
Oh
game.
yeah, look at that giant snake. Love to see it.
Yeah, Jormungandr is one of the biggest bodies on the field, and you're probably going to be seeing him most out of everybody.
Look, I'll be honest though, I am so disappointed that we do not have a Cthulhu here. I was just gonna sit here and recite Cthulhu Fatagan the whole time.
I say Cthulhu, he is a really good pick right now, but based off these sort of lineups, they want to sort of control the map. Both teams from up here want to control the map and just get that early pick or that early stun out just to stay in control from the beginning and get that snowball effect. Like we were talking about
teams
before.
kind of staggering out of their spawn. Why isn't everybody rolling out all at once?
So Smite is played in. It's a very sort of 1v1 or 2v2 type setup. So you just want to try and get to your buffs early in the game, since you have about a minute delay before the game fully starts. And you just want to get your buffs, make sure you get your XP, and just make sure that you are on the same level as your team. Because if you don't get your buff early enough, that can put you behind in the game right away. And in games like this, a gold difference or XP difference could just tell you how the game's going to go for the rest of it. But yeah, so we're just seeing these two teams get set up. Usually how buffs work in this, you try and move multiple to one so you can just clear it all out super fast and go to your lane and just start farming. And if you can get somebody out of position, punish them for it and just get that early pick right away.
So it looks like both teams kind of mirroring a setup. Now, in Smite, will we see anything like you might in League, like an early game invade, or is that not really...
In Smite, it's a lot harder due to the map size, and also you can get punished real easily. If you were going to do an early invade, it has to be a team thing. And with these lineups, you can't. There's no really good movement ability that these teams have that can get them out like super fast. So you probably won't be seeing that. And even in normal levels, it's just not very proactive or just useful.
So a little bit of two-player jungling here going on for West Delaware. West Delaware looks like their Medusa helping out the Jormungandr clear out this first camp. See a similar mirrored strategy on the side of East Buchanan here. And we are going to then go ahead and set up into our lane phase.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to say we're seeing the Merlin go mid, and then they're playing a little aggressive. Make sure you get that ward, make sure to get the vision so they can tell where the team's going. And yeah, jungler and the mid laner just going up mid, farming early until the jungler is fully set up. Hopefully,
Ooh,
like
a little bit of early game aggression there from the Ao Kuang. The Ao Kuang, I believe that is Jello Coffin, yeah?
Yes, that is.
So Jello Coffin, Lucas Seiser, putting a little bit of early pressure out against East Buchanan. East Buchanan getting kind of hard shoved into their tower here. Answering back. See a little bit of AoE going out for East Buchanan.
All right. Yeah, and those new wall soldiers, they could be really annoying, especially in this early game, because they just take so much hits and sometimes could be even tankier than a player. And now we're going to be swapping to our solo lane, Jaden or Death.
And Jaden or Death doing quite a lot of damage here against his opponent from East Buchanan. We see the Sun Wukong, Jaden or Death, but the health totals kind of evening out. In the solo lanes, you really want to pay attention to the health totals of the solo laners, as, you know, every kind of hit, every trade back and forth really matters. Ooh, and we see the all-in, the Sun Wukong going in, West Delaware going for the first pick, and they will get the first pick on East Buchanan. Jaden or Death from West Delaware with the first pick on East Buchanan.
Yeah, and that first pick could set this lane up, because solo lane is usually known for being slow to start, but just getting that first pick off might just set this into the motion of East Buchanan. Like, might set in the motion of East Buchanan just downfall in that lane. But it is solo lane, so anything could bring them back into it.
Atlas walking up a little bit here, trying to hit that skill shot, but not quite getting that. Just looks like going for a little bit of wave clear, throwing the globe down there.
Yeah, I'm going to say Atlas is known for just that pick ability, just farming and getting that small amounts of damage in.
And forgive the delay, we have some issues getting the screen going. Have kind of a UI error going on. Everything looks all right on our end, but we want to make sure that you guys are able to view this.
You can. I think it's user interface. You should be able to. Oh, maybe you can't.
It's only going when you guys are in the game. When you guys tap back into the game, you should be fine.
Okay. All right, and we are back. West Delaware up 2-1. East Buchanan answering back with an elim. And we are going to reorient ourselves here with this title. So we see East Buchanan, and East Buchanan answering back. We are 2-2 here. And it looks like the 1v1 going back in the favor of Shock, which would be East Buchanan Esports 4. So Cedric Satgast answering back against Jaden or Death from West Delaware. And really hard shoving this lane. So coming back from being down 1-0 and able to answer back. Also looking like having a bit of an XP lead here. And we are looking here in the 2v2 lane. It has become a 3v3. The Jormungandr.
I would say they're really setting up in the jungle, is really trying to help, like, get this early support lane into action, but it looks like Ao Kwang would just back and just get fully reset up again while they're just shoving lane down. I say trying to get these early picks is what we need, and this is exactly what you want to be doing, but seeing West Delaware get the first pick and then sort of getting punished for being a little overconfident in the game.
Yeah, a little bit overconfident and a slight gold lead in the favor of East Buchanan here. East Buchanan here doing a good job shoving these waves. And we see West Delaware getting pushed under tower here. Dr. Nicholswine pretty low here for West Delaware.
Honestly, I'm surprised. Once these lanes should be going away, this Medusa should be backing, because He is in one-shot potential and probably should just start resetting here.
West Delaware, though, answering back here.
They might be looking for a team fight here if they're playing aggressive. This Hoi was by himself, but I guess he'll be able to get out scot-free for that one.
And it looks like that West Delaware able to answer back in that mid lane. West Delaware kind of controlling all three of the lanes we see here. We see a little bit of a rotation on the side of East Buchanan and kind of heading over to this health camp.
Yeah, it might just be getting health camp and just backing straight up, but typically, at least from my perspective, I really like seeing these supports, especially when they start hitting level 6, level 5, to back away and start like roaming around and really trying to get like the rest of the team orientated.
Both teams playing a pretty farm-oriented playstyle, it looks like. We've seen a little bit of aggression, but not too much. And pretty even. West Delaware, the gold going back in their favor slightly, but kind of inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. We will kind of need to see these team fights happen, see how they shake out. East Buchanan, though, winning the health battle at least. It looks like they went back a little bit. And we see East Buchanan Esports 5. That is May McCardle.
Yeah, and Punish, maybe a little overextended from the Al Kwong, maybe not just realizing where the Ratatosker was, but no, yeah, he just got punished and shoved out for it, but still able to get the health camp, surprisingly. We'll be swapping over to the solo lane here. And Sun Wukong might be looking for a rotation, maybe? Maybe trying to get into that middle lane or setting up to gank the Shock.
So it looks like East Buchanan very extended far forward, needing to back up and play closer to their tower. Looks like kind of pivoting around the Scorpion, using that mobility to get out, though. They saw it coming.
Yeah, so, yeah, this is one reason why I use wards. Wards are super helpful in getting that vision and can tell you when you are going to get 2v1 and just, you got to make sure you can get out, and that was perfect play from East Buchanan side.
We see a lot of poke damage coming out from the Shock there, and a level advantage, which in any MOBA, the level 9 to level 7 in this lane is a huge differential. So dodging that skill shot there from the Sun Wukong, looking to poke back, East Buchanan poking back, but missing both skill shots from both teams.
Yeah, and sort of in the top left screen, we see XP per minute, and you can sort of see how, even though the gold
we have a 2v2 here. The Ratatosker having to back out for East Buchanan. We see the dive going in. Sun Wukong going in for West Delaware. West Delaware punishing this Shock that's out of position. Oh, and we see the Jormungandr.
That's Al Kwong. That's
Al
the Al
Kwong.
Kwong
It's another, the big dragon. My bad. Yeah.
Oh, and we appear to be having another fight here in this 2 lane, and Medusa will be going down here. And West Delaware really now starting to solidify their advantage, and if East Buchanan can't like solidify, come back, this could be starting where we start seeing that snowball effect.
Yeah, so we see West Delaware taking control in the team fight phase, getting up at about a 700 gold lead here, so trying to break away with that gold differential. We see the Jormungandr pushing forward WD Echo here, and really shoving this wave under the tower of East Buchanan.
Yeah, and we can sort of see that just by looking at the bottom screen, you've seen the builds, you can already sort of see that lead. West Delaware having more items and starting to get more built in their effect, and the more items you have, the stronger you're going to be, the more snowball you're going to become. And Atlas getting picked out here, but he will...
Ooh, the Medusa, though, will probably get this pick. Able to kind of run down the Atlas, but will not quite get there. We see the Jormungandr just bullying East Buchanan back. East Buchanan having to take a retreat here. And all of East Buchanan's kills will be on Cedric Satgas, excuse me.
Yeah, that's this solo lane. Their solo laner is really doing a lot of the heavy work right now, and you just see West Delaware really being a lot more team oriented right now, and just being able to get set up a lot more, and having that more pressure, and just it doesn't seem like East Buchanan is like taking a lot of pressuring fights or even advantage fights right now.
West Delaware really in the 2v2 lane here, putting a ton of pressure under the tower. pushing pretty far forward. We see a rotate from East Buchanan's Atlas, looking to hard engage on the Jormungandr.
But the movement abilities will get out of it, and
We do see kind of an all-in here, though. Looks like an ult going out there. Really not a lot going. We see the Jormungandr ult coming out.
and the Hoi Yi might be getting picked here because it's Ao Kwang, but
The Jormungandr going forward for West Delaware. We see the level, and
getting
One
out
more
with
shot.
a sliver of health. Oh, but the Atlas will get punished for staying in there for a little too long.
East Buchanan, though, will answer back on the Ratatosker in the other lane. Or, no, that was right there.
And you can see, again, the Shock is just getting punished, and they might be losing tower for
Cedric
this.
Satgas for East Buchanan very low, having to back up. And it looks like that West Delaware will get a tower off of this one.
Yeah, and you can sort of... I'm pretty sure. Are they setting up for... I wonder if these two are going to be setting up for anything. Because at this point, they have a decent experience lead. And they might be able to get set up for maybe one of these like Gold Furies. And just increase that lead even more.
We see almost 1,000 gold lead in the favor of West Delaware. So kind of breaking away a match that was very even from the beginning. West Delaware continuing to shove these lanes, but we see a 2v1 here coming out against West Delaware's Medusa from East Buchanan.
Yeah, but it doesn't appear like too much will be happening, because if he's under tower, you can't really do much. You can't full engage, especially at this level.
Oh, and
Well,
a bit
I
of a
could be
tower dive
wrong.
coming in, but the Jormungandr is there to answer back. Will we see the Jormungandr ult? We will! Jormungandr going in. That's one. Can we get two? West Delaware going forward 4-2, and East Buchanan having to back off here.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I was talking about. If you just tower dive like that, you can get punished heavily, especially not knowing where their support is going to be.
And that is a big snake coming out for West Delaware. The Ratatosker for East Buchanan kind of running it down here, looking for a 1v2. Really aggressive playstyle here, but will not pay off. And that will be 3 kills, 2-0 for West Delaware. And what are they going to do to capitalize off of this lead?
I'm about to say, with 2 players down right now, they can really be looking for the bus, and they might, yeah. And they're possibly getting set up for this Gold Fury and just increasing their gold lead. And with the gold lead, like I said, a bigger snowball effect, the more items you can have early in the game, the more likely you're to be able to win these games. But it does look like East Buchanan will be trying to take the gold lead and steal
Going
it.
for a little bit of a contest here. West Delaware a little bit low on health. They do have the gold advantage, though.
Yeah, and it looks like
The Atlas overcommitting for East Buchanan. The teammates nowhere to be found. The Atlas chasing, but at a 3-level disadvantage, a 5-level disadvantage against this Ao Kwang from West Delaware.
And I'm pretty sure this Atlas, since he is so out of position, will be getting taken out here if he's not careful. And that, like I said, that movement ability is just a little too strong sometimes and can get you out of a fight like it's nothing. Moving back over to the solo lane here.
We see the Sun Wukong for West Delaware trying to put in a lot of damage into East Buchanan Esports 4, a.k.a. Cedric Satgast, who has been really holding the line in the solo lane for his team. With that level advantage, able to keep this Sun Wukong at bay. But is it going to be enough? Oh, goes for the all-in and will peel out at the last second and not securing that elimination.
I think was just a misplay from him, because Shock's ability, when he throws this sort of axe on the field, if he uses that rotating ability, he'll just teleport to it. And I think he was expecting the axe to already be going away so he could finalize that kill. And I think it was just by accident that he didn't realize it was gone quite yet.
Now, we do see another pick here from East Buchanan, trying to get back into this game. East Buchanan was at about a 2k gold disadvantage, closing this gap just a little bit. Oh, and here we see the Jormungandr doing so much work for West Delaware. That ult doing so much work. That's 1 elim. That's 2 elims for West Delaware. West Delaware pressing their advantage. moving to try and secure some of these camps, trying to take out some of these objectives.
Yeah, and this is sort of what you want to see, this snowball effect. Just getting that XP lead. As you can see, most of their team already is getting more experience than a good portion of their team, and also just getting this gold lead solidified, because right now they're coming up to that 2K gold mark lead. And we'll see a little... Is he trying to poke out? No, I guess they will be disengaging and just trying to shove it down the mid lane tower.
It does look like that the field of control has shifted in West Delaware's favor. They have taken... They're at least playing farther forward. Which team is up on towers, though?
Honestly, it will be East Buchanan. It does have more towers, but in games like this, you could have 0 towers and still be winning the fights. But it appears like they'll be trying to do a team fight in this mid lane. And from what we've been seeing so far, West Delaware has been winning these team fights.
So which team, though, has the better late game? So in MOBAs, characters do better at different parts of the game. So, and it looks like we are setting up a 5v5 here. So these teams looking for a big team fight in the mid lane.
Yeah, and they're trying to just solidify this objective. And
East Buchanan catches out the Ao Kuang, though. We see another huge Jormungandr ult. The Jormungandr for West Delaware, catching out multiple players from East Buchanan. Will this be an ace? East Buchanan answering back. The shock. 2 eliminations. They're even. East Buchanan, though, greedily pursuing this Jormungandr, and that is a tanky snake. Will not be able to take out the Jormungandr.
Yeah, and like you were saying before, who's going to be better in this later game? Me, personally, I believe the West Delaware side does have it better in this later game, because Merlin, he doesn't scale very well in this early portion of the game. He doesn't do a lot of damage. He feels a little clunky, but once you get in that later game, he has, 10 different abilities he can use. He does pump out so much damage, especially into those team fights.
East Buchanan, though, doing everything they can to stay even in the team fights. Only an 800 gold advantage for West Delaware, and they did trade 3 for 3. Cedric Satgast for East Buchanan, really trying to do the best they can to keep their team in the game.
Yeah, and we can sort of see on this solo lane side that he's really trying to shove it up and maybe looking to take another tower here, possibly, if he's not dealt with at all. And getting that second tower is a lot better than just losing first towers, because this tower gives a lot more defense to your Titans, and if they don't deal with him, this could lead to a snowball effect in the solo lane.
We see the Ratatosker, or May McCardle, rotating over to try and push this Sun Wukong out of lane. But again, we see another team fight going, and that will be a pick for West Delaware. West Delaware's Medusa, though, being chased by the shock, and it looks like East Buchanan answering back. West Delaware, though, pushing forward with this Ao Kuang and Jormungandr, but it is a 4v2. Jormungandr with the burrow there, trying to get out. But East Buchanan playing really well together here as a team.
Yeah, and just seeing that aggressive, I believe somebody was caught out of position on the West Delaware side near the end of that fight, and getting that early pick kind of just leads to the fight being lost during the West Delaware side. And yeah, they're just going to be keeping that pressure up in this mid lane, and should be, hopefully, based on their plan, taking tower here soon. Either that or look for another fight, because they've been winning these team fights a lot more than they should be.
Now, is it smart at this point in the game for these teams to be playing as grouped as they are? Because we see the lane on the left side really pushing up for East Buchanan, and no one really going to kind of push that out. So East Buchanan having Prio in the left lane, both teams really just pivoting around the middle lane, but we do see the right lane pushing up for West Delaware. I mean, should there be kind of like a split push going on? No, we see an engage. We're going in for the team fight. The Ao Kuang looks like will go down for West Delaware. West Delaware answering back with that Jormungandr. That's 2. Will it be 3? Going in for the Ratatosker. West Delaware pushing them out. That is 1 to 3. But the players for West Delaware are low and need to back off.
And honestly, during this 20-minute mark, you don't really see a lot. Usually what you see, at least what I would see, is at this point, the AD carries, or in this case, Medusa, or East Buchanan Esports 2, and also Dr. Nickel, you would see them still being in this carry side, just farming up until they hit level 20. And just because the reason why I call it AD carries is because they do so much damage. And especially if they're building right, crits in this game, you can kill somebody in 3 shots, maybe.
Interesting. Now, we do see the 2K gold lead yet again on the side of West Delaware.
Setting up for an Oni Fury here, trying to get that gold lead solidified even more here, and doesn't look like East Buchanan knows that they're trying to do it.
A little bit of a sneaky objective here. And yeah, it looks like that the Atlas will see this, but too late. West Delaware pushing forward, though. That Atlas is now out of position. East Buchanan trying to move forward, but West Delaware having the prio on this fight. We see the ults going out. The Jormungandr doing so much work for West Delaware. Pushing forward. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. West Delaware still pushing. Can they make it 4? Probably should back off, though, as their Jormungandr, the tank, getting low, but soaking up so much of that damage.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see on this West Delaware side. They should be winning these team fights, and just like that, getting somebody, making sure, seeing if somebody's out of position, and just solidifying. And yeah, they will be, the East Buchanan side will be losing a tower due to that out of position.
Charles Maloney, WD Echo, the Jormungandr player. Look, I don't care what MOBA it is. You never want to see a tank that is 6-0. A tank that is 6-0 is ridiculously hard to deal with in the late game. The other team going to have to focus so many resources taking out that Jormungandr.
And yeah, I'm gonna say I agree with you completely. Seeing Jormungandr, seeing the tank here 6-0, you kind of set him up a little too quick. And like I said, he's a tank. He's gonna take a lot of damage. And since it is Jorm, he's gonna dish out just the same amount of damage as you deal to him here.
Now, WD Delta, the Merlin here, you did mention that that is the hyper carry, only 1, 3, and 10. So, needing to West Delaware, if they want to close this out, probably going to need to transfer some of these eliminations to their hyper carry.
Yeah, that's the only problem, in my opinion, with the tank getting so many kills. It's never a bad thing to see tank getting kills, but you sort of wish your Merlin just had a little more of that XP lead or that XP gold sort of lead, because if he's not getting, at this point, if he's not like level 18 or starting to match levels, he's going to be the weak link on your team. Especially since he is supposed to be that glass cannon. If he's not going to dish out the amount of damage that the other enemy team's doing, it's not a real point for him.
Still, for East Buchanan, 2/3 of their kills being on Cedric Satcast. And how can that transfer and possibly give East Buchanan an advantage into the late game? Obviously, we see the highest player damage in the game from Cedric Satcast. Is this a character that will fall off, though?
Shock, so typically Shock is, in any fight, even in the late game, you're going to see value come out of him. He does so much area damage with that axe and the spin abilities, and he will be able to do so much.
Huge Jormungandr ult coming out, doing so much crowd control in the background of East Buchanan. But East Buchanan will come away with the first kill. East Buchanan surrounding the Sun Wukong. East Buchanan turning the fight back in their favor. The Furies, even health. East Buchanan pushing West Delaware back. And it looks like that they will take this fight. Their Fury will move forward.
Yeah, and seeing the Titan being able to go up, Titans are known for shredding towers, and
East Buchanan with another pick. This Titan going forward.
I would say, yeah, this is what you want to see on the East Buchanan side. They over-engaged and were split up, West Delaware side, and they punish them heavy for it, and they might be looking to get a Fire Giant here and solidify them coming back, and maybe even closing out the lead that West Delaware has here.
Yeah, so West Delaware, there was at a 6K gold lead. That lead has been closed to a little bit more than 2K. So, look, East Buchanan, you know, what I really love to see here is they are not giving up.
No, for sure they're not going to give up. And especially this early, I say early, it's 26 minutes in, but these games usually can last 30, 40 minutes. And right now, the one thing you never want to do in a game like this is give up, because it can shift in so much. It's so little time. One team fight could win or lose you the game.
Well, and in any MOBA, you know, gold advantage only matters to a certain point. So once both teams are at full build, it really comes down to who is winning those late game team fights. And so if West Delaware can't capitalize on this lead that they have, they are going to find themselves even with East Buchanan going into these later fights. And with a majority of the elims being on the tanks of West Delaware, it could prove to be a problem for them. And we see, the Jormungandr getting rotated on.
Getting caught out of position, and the tankiness, you won't be able to get eliminated, but that's the stuff you don't want to see on this West Delaware side. I think the Jormungandr is getting a little too aggressive here and is getting caught out of position because of it.
And still, no additional elims on that Merlin. So, and falling a bit behind in the levels. We see the Merlin still sitting at level 17 for West Delaware.
Yeah, at this point, honestly, I would say Merlin go in one of the left or right lanes. Make sure he's safe, place wards around so you keep that vision, and farm up. Because if you can get to 20 here, 20 level, you can do so much damage, and you could be the one winning these team fights.
East Buchanan with heavy prio in both the left and right lanes. Still with a little bit of a gold disadvantage, but that is going away. East Buchanan looking for the rotate here on West Delaware. We see the Jormungandr going in. East Buchanan, though, the caught out here, and will get knocked up way into the air. West Delaware taking control of this fight. Sun Wukong going in. Ao Quang going in.
And we'll be seeing the team fight. Shock ulting here and maybe be able to capitalize on this Merlin being out of position.
East Buchanan answering back. The Merlin way out of position. It needs to just be one more skill shot. East Buchanan hits it, though. East Buchanan going to push forward off of this. And they still... but here we do. We see the rotate from West Delaware trying to shove out that left lane and trying to...
Maybe getting a tower here. Medusas and these Hunter class characters are known for shredding towers, and Ratatasker might be a little too slow to be able to stop him here. And yeah, well, you'll see the tower be falling, but...
Ooh, and the Ratatasker taking a ton of damage there from the Medusa player. Dr. Nickel Swine, Timothy Swenka from West Delaware, really doing everything they can to not lose out on a huge gold lead in that mid-team fight.
And we will be seeing Primal Fury, just another gold buff, big falling here. Going maybe toward this East Buchanan side. Jormungandr will be coming in, but it's a 1v5. You really don't want to be caught out of position, especially here.
So the Jormungandr, super tanky. Red team getting the Primal Fury.
Yeah, and I really like... I wasn't expecting this, but I really like how East Buchanan is playing so grouped up. Because they have so much area damage in this Hoi Yi, in the Ratatasker jump. Atlas being able to pump out so much damage, with just area damage with his just normal abilities. And this Shock being able to slam down an axe and possibly hitting everybody on the enemy team.
And that gold lead from West Delaware is now gone.
This is the sort of stuff you want to see. When you see this lead fall, the snowball effect might be going on the other side, and honestly, we might be seeing East Buchanan trying to get a lead here.
Yeah, East Buchanan playing super smart, playing together, looking for those picks, trying to claw their way back into this game. And we are seeing a rotate from East Buchanan. They are in a 5v4 scenario, as in the right lane. We see the split push. West Delaware kind of caught out. The Medusa player for West Delaware caught out, running away, but is just getting hard engaged on by East Buchanan Esports 4. Cedric Satgast doing everything they can to keep their team in this game and will get that pick.
Yeah, and you'll see two on the West Delaware side fall, and you might be seeing them trying to get this Fire Giant and getting this. Fire Giant's known for ending games, and honestly, we might, or they.
West Delaware super pushed up on the right lane side.
Yeah,
and it looks like that we have a little bit of a proxy situation here. East Buchanan tanking this tower. I mean, is this a good decision when they could have gone 5 players for that Fire Giant?
honestly, I'd rather have them go for the Fire Giant because it gives a full team buff that deals more damage. I'm pretty sure it also gives more protections. And then you could have gone for the Fire Giant because with that, or then you could have gone for a tower because with that Fire Giant buff, you win team fights. That is a team fight ender, especially when we get into the late game. So honestly, at the 30-minute mark, I'm surprised neither team has gone for the Fire Giant. Like, they've been warding it, but I haven't seen any aggression really on top of that Fire Giant.
So how is West Delaware going to answer back here? They did not trade for the final tier turret there in the back. They came really close, but honestly, a single carry is not going to outpush 4 players.
No, by any means. And
East Buchanan going in for that engage. We see both teams sitting right around that level 20 mark. All of East Buchanan at that level 20 mark, and still waiting for the Merlin for West Delaware to hit that power spike that you're talking about.
yeah, and honestly, Merlin should be doing more here, in my opinion. Especially if these team fights are so group-orientated. He has a flash or blink out that he could just basically teleport a short distance away. Just being able to use
We
that.
see a hard engage for East Buchanan. Al Quang getting out with the movement ability. Merlin trying to set up and get in a good position here. We see the Jormungandr ult coming out again. Although that tank, as the game goes on, will be getting less and less value. East Buchanan, though, having to back off. Sun Wukong chasing down the Ratatasker. And it is, right now, 2 kills for East Buchanan, 1 for West Delaware. The Medusa for West Delaware, caught out, trying to get away, getting chased down by the shock from East Buchanan.
And this is exactly the thing you don't want to see. Being caught out this much, there's almost no chance they're getting out. Especially
you're
with
not.
an
Whoa!
Maybe? Hold on.
Maybe the Jormungandr is there. The shock is thirsty, though.
Yeah, and there's this elimination solidifier. That's sort of thing you're expecting to see, especially if you're that low and just you can't really back out. But
East Buchanan now with the 2K gold lead. They have brought this back from being 6K gold down. West Delaware not capitalizing when they needed to.
yeah, and we're probably going to be seeing a tower fall. Yeah, because 4v2, especially when your tank is one of the players, you're not going to see them win that fight.
The Sun Wukong going in for West Delaware. Immediately pushed out, though. We see the ultimate coming out for East Buchanan. East Buchanan, though, separated in a 3v2 situation. 4v2 situation. Playing very confidently. East Buchanan rotating back in, though. The Sun Wukong for West Delaware and the Ao Quang very low. The Jormungandr. West Delaware trying everything they can to peel for their team. But no picks solidified there. Dr. Nicholswine down for West Delaware. And East Buchanan keeping everyone alive and should be looking for a high priority objective here to try and close out this game.
100%. Now this is when I want to see this gold or this Fire Giant go down. Especially now, you want to get that down. Even if it's just a gold like Oni Fury, try and get an objective. Because you have the lead now. You were down, and now you have the lead. Solidify it. Make them feel how down they are and how much they're losing right now.
Now, one thing that we do see at this level, though, is when teams get ahead, they try to prioritize going for kills over objectives, feeling a little overconfident. The issue with going for kills over objectives at this point is, like, you really need to, like, win the team fight hard. Otherwise, the other team is just going to turtle out. Now, we see West Delaware actually posturing for this Fire Giant, and it looks like there's going to be a team fight surrounding this high priority objective. East Buchanan engaging in, getting the first pick, second pick. East Buchanan moving forward on the Fire Giant. And they have destroyed this fire giant. West Delaware answering back. The Jormungandr. It's not going to be enough, though. Jormungandr going down. That's 3-1 in the favor of East Buchanan. East Buchanan chasing out this last kill on the Ao Kuang. And they are not going to get it, but they will have taken that objective.
Yeah, and this is when you want to see them get grouped up and either push up a lane. Once a Phoenix is down, so much happens. The minions in that lane get buffed, they deal more damage, they have more health, and that's when you really want to get in the team fight and just start grouping up and getting this Phoenix down.
We see East Buchanan diving, getting the Phoenix down, pushing forward.
And they might be looking to end the game
And
here.
yeah, they should be looking to end the
Yeah.
game here. Putting pressure on the base of West Delaware. West Delaware trickling in one at a time, and that's not the way you want to do it. And it looks like that game one will go in a Cinderella story to the lower seed, East Buchanan.
Yeah, West Delaware just getting that early lead, but never really doing much with it. Just keep trying to get the picks. They got Gold Fury once. You really want to keep getting those objectives because that's what's going to win you the game.
I just want to know, East Buchanan came back almost 16,000 gold.
Yeah.
At the end of that game, they turned a 6K differential into a 9K lead at the end of that game.
Yeah, and that's sort of the thing. Team fights, if you're winning team fights, you're going to get crap ton of gold. But
all right, yeah, and so we had a big turnaround there. This will be played, though, in a best-of-3, so West Delaware having an opportunity to answer back. Will we see different bans now that these teams have kind of seen what the other one does? You know, like, will we take the Shock off the table? Also, the new Wa off the table, getting a lot of late-game value. Either way, while we are waiting to go into Game 2, we will be right back.
So once this match is done, I'll fix it because right now the game only shows up when you're fully tapped in. So if you guys go to another screen, then I know, but then it blanks it out. So once this match is totally done, I'm not going to screw with it mid game. I'll fix that for the next one. Yeah, ask you guys to do that.
All right, so here we are on the team fight, positioning around this Pyromancer and this Fire Giant, but it looks like that we're seeing a backdoor. Get on that, Morgan Le Fay! Is the Morgan Le Fay going to backdoor here at the end for West Delaware? Morgan Le Fay, tons of damage! Oh my gosh! It's so close! No, but will go down!
And if that was just a little more coordinated, if there was maybe 2 people, that would have been down. That would have just been game at that point. But now, since you're down, you're Morgan Le Fay.
Look, I love the cheeky backdoor potentially, but, you know,
it's really risky, but now it's getting a little more coordinated, and that'll be ending the game right there.
And that will be the end of game 2. So, West Delaware answering back, and we will go into a game 3. Apologies for a little bit of the audio issues we had there. Really enthusiastic was just kind of pointed out to us at the end. It's all good because we are going into a best of 1. So, in this best of 1, East Buchanan versus West Delaware. West Delaware answering back from their own come from behind victory in game 2, and we will be back shortly. All right, and we are back. So, looking at the bands coming out, we see from West Delaware,
The new law again.
New Law again, respecting West Delaware was able to capitalize off the New Law back on the board. Now we see East Buchanan really counterplaying West Delaware's game plan. The Jormungandr taken away. Look, I would have done that after game one.
Yeah, seen how much pressure he put at game one. It should have been immediate. And now getting that ban done, it's the right call. And West Delaware taking the shock away from East Buchanan right away.
Yeah. The counter pick. I love to see that. So this picks and bans phase getting a lot more interesting. It looked like before the teams kind of doing their comfort bans, but now we are directly familiar with the other team. And but East Buchanan taking away the Anubis.
And in my opinion, Anubis didn't really do much in the early game, but that's sort of what he does. But usually he still has a lot of pressure. Later game, though, we should see this be an interesting pick. And
we see the comps kind of shaking out to be basically what they were before. The only thing is the Thanatos coming out for West Delaware, the Shock taken away from East Buchanan. We see the Thor and the Merlin band, and then
Ao Kwong. You see the Ao Kwong ban. And Ao Kwong was a really good pinpoint in that first game, especially with his ultimate being execution, just eliminating a player like it was nothing.
The Maui ban again, and we see the Ratatosker ban again. I kind of want to see the Hook Chan.
Maui's one of those funny characters where it's just Hook.
Look, just double checking. Yeah, so let's go on to the window. Yeah, just double checking to make sure that we have this set up properly this time.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
We're still waiting on the last bands to get into play.
Oh, the Morgan Le Fay. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, Morgan Le Fay doing a lot of work. Did kind of have a bit of a bad moment, not being with the team at the end, but the Morgan Le Fay did a ton of work. And the double support ban, or at least double bans toward May McCardle. Targeting May McCardle with two bans here from West Delaware.
Yeah, the Bakasur was really able just to get those like early picks or just finalize the character that the Atlas was getting. Honestly, Chiron is interesting just because it is very heavy movement abilities, but with the Hades, there's not a lot of movement that the Hades has besides maybe one dash.
So other than the Cernunos, West Delaware busting out a completely different comp. East Buchanan able to get two of the familiar characters in the Kukulkan and the Huyi. But both of these teams, I'm not sure if this is like practiced or if there was some anxiety coming out from the target bans here.
I believe it was just like they noticed like the annoying character in each team and just said, I want to pick them first. I just want to be better. I think is what the teams are sort of trying to do here, and especially with this Anubis and the Shock, you just see those two I just want to play them better than the other team did, and it might work. I guess we'll have to see once we really get into the game.
Yeah, we have to see how it works out, right? Because if it's a question of you're just taking away a character for the sake of taking it away, that should be a ban, right? Yeah. But if you are able to match the other person on that character, then obviously it is the right decision. So we will see if West Delaware's Shock on Jaden or Death is able to match the really scary Shock that we have seen from Cedric Satcast from East Buchanan.
Yeah, and I'm really going to start spectating him more just because he was really able to initiate those fights and do so much damage. I'm pretty sure in both games he had the most damage, which is not normal for a brawler such a Shock.
I mean, I don't know. I've seen bruisers in League of Legends games really put in a lot of work.
He-
Like, a Darius in League can really
Yeah, I would
ruin
say
your day.
Shock is known for doing damage, but when we're getting to that super high mark, yeah, it's but
And we are going to spend the time while this spectator delay gets going to update the scoreboard here. So this will be moving into a game 3. It will be moving into the best of 1 here. So East Buchanan with a come from behind victory in game 1. West Delaware getting behind super early in game 2 and then able to turn it around. So game 3, it has both teams have shown that they're able to kind of hold out on the mental game, not get tilted early, and come from behind and win. The thing about it is, though, is also like we've commented multiple times, just close out the game.
yeah, you can really see like they're trying to really like look for picks, look for kills, and just maybe get a single tower or maybe just getting like the small like damage or movement buffs. If you get 2 picks, look to set up for those gold fears, those really big objectives, so you can push harder. Maybe get 2 towers, or maybe you can win the next team fight off of that fire giant. It's just getting really set up for those big objectives. Even the pyromancer can change a game.
So talk to us about these characters we haven't seen yet. What are Hades and Charon?
So Hades is very simple. It's sort of like Anubis. They do similar things. They're very healy, except Hades is a lot more sustainable and also is able to have more of those burst damage because Hades can pop out of the blue, silence you so you can't do anything, and just burn you down. And his ultimate ability pulls everyone to one spot and will slowly pull and deal damage and heal him. So he's a lot more sustainable. While this Charon is it's a very mobile guardian and does very well with shields. And also a thing about tanks in Smite is their gold production is not going to be as high as normal. Charon's passive ability lets him pick up coins that will increase his health and increase his gold.
Now, is this an infinite scaling mechanic?
No, it does cap out at a certain amount. Usually around near mid or like as we're getting to the end game, you'll sort of see a cap. But I have seen Charons with like 4,000 health compared to the normal 3,000.
Interesting.
So maybe because Charon is known for being that heavy tanky, even more than Jormungandr at some points, especially if you build him right. But normally setups are always going to be the same, especially with the Charon. And Charon is a lot more longer range because he has most guardians are up front. They hit you with the melee. Charon has a long range attack. So seeing the Hades who wants to get in their face, I really want to see West Delaware's Hades build a little more tanky because he's going to be taking a lot of damage, especially with the Charon.
Well, will East Buchanan come in as the underdog and pull this out? Or will West Delaware be ferried? Will West Delaware ferry them to their demise on the River Styx with this Charon?
That was a good one. But, no, yeah.
Just a little bit of trolling here.
A little ring around the rosy.
Running around the pillar here in the jungle.
Well, we can obviously, the West Delaware is still finding ways to have a good time. You see their mental games amazingly high because of that second win. And yeah, and you can sort of see the difference in the teams because you see the enemy team or the East Buchanan team just staying at their buffs, not doing anything. And you see West Delaware just having fun. I mean, you have time to spare.
Honestly, though, I want to see how this different pick and ban phase plays out, right? So, because the teams are running vastly different comps than what we've seen, I think that it will be telling which team is more comfortable on their secondary characters.
Yeah, 100%. This, especially the support differences. I was expecting to see the Atlas again, but seeing the Ymir, I'm really looking at the supports, like seeing what these two can do on these separate like Guardian style characters. Especially with Ymir, who has that stun, that slow, has another wall and is able just to really make somebody go out of position.
Now, we see the shock super low, Jaden or Death from West Delaware. So in that 1v1, the reverse matchup here against the Anubis, not putting out the same early pressure.
And
oof.
Yeah, and you can sort of see a difference in just like how they play the characters. East Buchanan is really aggressive in this lane. Like really aggressive, and it's paying off. I mean, he's already a level lead, and possibly even has a gold lead of like already has close to 200 gold lead.
Now, I don't know if we're able to like see the SR of the players, but I do think that there might be a little bit of a gap in this lane in particular. East Buchanan's side laner, their solo laner, does very well and is going again for this early pick. Will land the CC there and the grasp.
And misses the basic attack to get it. And yeah, I think it's really showing that from the last two games, we see there's sort of a gap in the duo lane and the solo lane because they've always had the pressure early. It's always been
the CC coming out here. West Delaware putting a ton of damage onto this Huyi for East Buchanan and able to get these early plates.
Yeah, I would say they've always been able to pressure early, but it's in that middle game where it sort of seemed to fall off and it get more advanced. It's like the East Buchanan side is really more orientated toward those mid to late game team fights. Yeah, and we see mid laner just farming like normal.
Thanatos and Hades basically canonically like the same person, which is kind of funny. But, you know, they're both in the game. Why not?
I say that's always been like a fun aspect of Smite is like I'll always just have fun and like let's only play like Greeks in this game. It's the mythos part of this game really makes it shine and just still a fun game. You can just do as you please in the game if you really want to.
Ooh.
And that's
the Fenrir for East Buchanan getting caught out in the jungle. Nice rotate there from West Delaware. Good comms, able to kind of just identify that. This Charon, though, being a little cheeky with the forward zoning.
Yeah, and you can see Ymir really bullying the Charon. That's Ymir's job, is if somebody's too far up, you bully him. You bully him back as far as you can, and you just take up that space. You see the Cuckoo really putting in work in this mid lane still. And you'll see it.
The Hades going all in on this Cuckoo and
able to get out. I understand the Hades ult did pop out there. I understand it might have been for clear, but you can see that Cuckoo was going for an aggressive fight there.
Thanatos flying up in the air, going for the gank. East Buchanan's Anubis will take out the shock there in the 1v1 lane. Thanatos not able to get the pick on the Cuckoo from East Buchanan. And we see the Fenrir running forward.
Fenrir running forward, and then, yeah, just backing like normal, just getting regrouped up again. Maybe Thanatos really playing with his life here. Fenrir can do a lot of damage in just a split second. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of what we've seen before, except in this duo lane, a lot of the pressure has shifted.
Oh yeah, the wave coming out there from the Charon, trying to land some of the CC. Oh, look at that movement ability. Landing tons of CC, but not able to capitalize on it. I am interested in seeing how this more CC heavy comp from West Delaware is able to capitalize on that in team fights.
Yeah, they've seemed a lot more stun and like slow orientated, and especially with the Charon being able to, like as we saw there, his movement ability be able to go from 0 to 100 like it's nothing and get that stun off can really set a team fight.
West Delaware getting a lot of poke in this duo lane onto the Huyi. East Buchanan though ahead on gold. And the Fenrir,
Pulling the shock out of the tower, and but the shock will silence and save his life there.
the Anubis, though, here for Cedric Satgas. Cedric Satgas, in my opinion, really the MVP of this game. Just doing a ton of work. Oh, and almost getting the pick there on the shock. But the Hades coming in for the gank. And he will just 1v1 the Hades!
Yeah, and you'll see Hades might be able to live for longer.
Oh, no, don't do it! Don't do it! This guy's crazy! Oh, no, the Thanatos.
He's
Is he able to do it? Is he going to get out? Oh, gosh.
But you're really able to see that Hades is can survive for longer, but is not can't do as much damage as the Anubis can.
Westella are getting bullied out here by the Samir and Huyi, getting super low, and it looks like that East Buchanan really capitalizing off of their lane phase. East Buchanan has been proving that their lane phase is very strong, and we see 2 early kills on that Anubis. Cedric Satgast coming out and trying to make a statement here, trying to carry this game on the bottom, on the lower seed here against this West Delaware team.
Yeah, we can really see the aggressive playstyles are really coming through. There's a lot more just full engages, and then understanding that the need to back, you can really start seeing it shine here. And you can see the damage difference here. That Anubis has so much damage just in this early game, off the rip. And even now, is bullying the solo laner once again.
Absolutely. So the Anubis just pushing this lane out. The shock here really just trying to rotate off. Seeing this Fenrir, I don't really know what's going on right now.
That as a Fenrir,
I was about to say, like, if there is any communication going on here at all, I don't know what Jaden or Death is thinking, just rotating out of their lane. Now East Buchanan is going to be able to rotate over. They're going to throw out the ultimate ability. They're going to get another pick. And, oh, the Fenrir just going crazy here. But we see the wave coming out.
that was, I don't know really what to say there, because you see the shock just really get out of position, but he did it. And you see the Fenrir look at him and just not do anything about it. And they played it smart. They waited till 2 was able to get on him, but the shock was just sitting there like a sitting duck, mainly.
The Thanatos for West Delaware able to put out a lot of damage, but I'm not sure I would want this fight.
No, I don't think so either. Especially when you were down 2 players, and they had 3 compared to your 2. It's a little more orientated to the East Buchanan side. But we will see a pick on the Anubis, and that's huge because of that gold bounty. So we'll see a less of a gap.
We see a huge rotate over. West Delaware absolutely caught out. Great rotate. I mean, West Delaware able to get out, though, with those high movement abilities, but...
Yeah, East Buchanan really showing, understanding, like, rotating around and capitalizing on the very aggressive playstyle of West Delaware.
East Buchanan also having Prio in the left lane already. That tower down.
Yeah, and we'll see either a team fight or we'll see like a 3v3 up a mid, or I see 2 in right lane, and they're looking to really punish the shock for really getting up too close.
Yeah, absolutely. The shock really overextending here for West Delaware. And that wolf is on the chase.
They get pushed out, and that
Oh, no! The insect! Grabbing that shock and bringing them back into the fight, and this Anubis just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Is it going to be the Cedric Satgas show here from East Buchanan?
Yeah, and even though they were able to kill the shock, they were still able to win. West Delaware won the mid lane fight, and possibly it's taking tower and evening the game out.
Yeah, I mean, the aggressive playstyle, right? Like, in all these games, it's just really shown that these early kills, do not matter as much as they could because the teams don't capitalize off of the gold lead.
Yeah, it's really one of the negatives, I would say, is the fact that both teams, they aren't capitalizing on much as they could be. I mean, you see 2 picks, start rotating, buy a ward, go to the Gold Fury, and start, like, warding the Gold Fury out, making sure that you can capitalize and eliminate it. But you're not really seeing it much out of both of them. It's just, like, 30 minutes in, and then finally, objective will go down.
Just a massive player damage differential there from the Anubis Cedric Satcast. But 2 players of West Delaware kind of, staying in it, right? There is a huge differential from the Anubis and the rest of their team.
Yeah, this Anubis pick, I was expecting for it to do work, but this is exceeding my expectations. It is putting a lot of work, especially on the shock. And
that was a bit of an overcommit there and almost getting punished for it.
Yeah, and you can sort of see the shock's not putting as much work as I would really hope.
The CC going out there.
See a possible fight happening near this jungle, this left jungle around this Gold Fury, but both teams will just back out and get regrouped up again. It feels like they aren't really doing much right now when they could be like trying to get set up for something. It's like they're just wandering around jungle waiting for the other person to do something.
I mean, here's what I would do, right? You have a side laner that is putting in an inordinate amount of pressure, right? So much pressure coming in from the side lane. Set it up here, right? East Buchanan getting the pick here, setting up this 4v4, and we see the Anubis rotating over, and that is not what you want to see. The Anubis running it in, getting that kill, 3 kills secured, 2-0 from East Buchanan.
Yeah, and this, if honestly, at this point, if you can kill the Hades, that's fantastic. Finalize, start going for the objective. Go for Gold Fury.
No, Wolf! Wolf!
He's able to get out, but I don't think Thanatos will let him. Thanatos able to get that movement speed buff.
Charon coming in with the CC.
little...
Man, that was a wild aggressive playstyle there from East Buchanan, from May McCardle.
I like the aggressive, but that was not the right time. I mean, you already were up 3. Back up and regroup. A 2v5.
Look, when you're playing the Wolf character in these games, it's your job just to run it down, right? Like, I mean...
Fenrir is known to run it down, and yeah. I say, if...
Ooh, West Delaware, though, answering back, though. Punishing East Buchanan from getting super overconfident. The Kukul Khan, though, able to get a little bit of poke out, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, and, I mean, you already won the first team fight. If you're going to stay in and let the death timers come down, you're going to be half HP, and they're going to come back with full resources, and they're going to win that fight. And we just saw that happen. And then, although, yeah, both teams are just really not capitalizing on anything. We see a huge damage difference, but
look, the Fenrir, though, this Wolf is fearless for East Buchanan. Just going in. I like to see it. I love the over-aggressive playstyle. Although it is currently not paying out for them. They have a 5-player push, though, heading over to this side lane. It looks like West Delaware is rotating to match, but East Buchanan having the prio in that side lane still.
Okay, I was about to say the Charon and Hades, the Fenrir really, that was a really aggressive. If he was caught out of position, he would have been a goner right there.
That is a thirsty wolf.
Now, we'll see the shock by himself, and the Hoi just trying to look for this 1v1, I guess, but we'll just dash out here, and once again, we'll just get regrouped, and nothing really has changed so far.
Both teams rotating around. West Delaware in a really good position for this fight. We see the Charon wave go out. The Charon engaging for East Buchanan. Ultimates are going out like crazy. West Delaware will get the first pick. Anubis, though, answering back for East Buchanan. 1-1 in this team fight. The Fenrir will get out with that crazy movement. East Buchanan, it's a 3v4, though. The Fenrir looking for the re-engage. East Buchanan, though, this Anubis. Cedric Satgas doing so much work. Having to back up, though. Oh.
Getting this Anubis should be top priority.
Just
He's putting
kiting
so
them.
much work in.
And we see that lifesteal come out like you were talking about. And this should be an ace.
This Charon should be gone eventually, but
it's all right. Look, I just don't. Okay.
I guess they're playing. Okay.
All right.
Now let's back up.
Right.
You won the fight. Let's back up. Maybe you could get a Pyromancer. You are a little low, but yeah, this is what should be happening. You win the team fight, get set up for the next one. You know there's going to be another team fight popping up eventually.
Yeah, just the amount of overextensions in this game is wild, all right? I think these teams have just decided, look, we hear you guys. We hear you up there saying we should go for objectives, but nah, we're going to double down. We're just going to have all-out melee brawls all over the map.
If you win the fight because of it, I won't argue with you, but the objectives should be number one priority in these games. You should get maybe 1-2 picks and then get those objectives. And we actually see that. Do we see that on the... Yeah, we see West Delaware going for the Gold Fury.
All right, finally going for this Gold Fury. East Buchanan up with a 3K gold lead, but West Delaware able to play a little bit more discipline and close that gap out a little bit. We see East Buchanan still just kind of wandering the jungle looking for picks.
Yeah, and they're just following the Shock. Shock is hard to get rid of. He's super tanky.
Committing so many resources into these picks, burning ultimate abilities, but just getting nothing. West Delaware able to out-kite East Buchanan, and West Delaware just saying, look, you can chase us around all you want. We are going to go for objectives.
Yeah, and now, since ultimate abilities were used, you have ults, they don't.
And we see them setting up the Charon wave going out. A lot of CC, a lot of damage going into the backline. But, oh, man.
A little.
East Buchanan just weathering the storm. Wolf! Just running around. But
Right.
the Anubis doing so much work.
Yeah, the Anubis is doing. Yeah, the Anubis and Cuckoo are 4 to 3 levels higher.
Alexander Franzen and Cedric Satgas, the two captains from East Buchanan, their team out of position, getting hit with all that CC.
Yeah, and
it does not matter.
No, it doesn't. And especially right now, the amount of XP they're getting is, like, per minute, is leagues above some of the West Delaware players. And especially, you want to see that Hades get XP. You really want him, and he's on the lower side. He really needs to start getting that farm up and getting ready, because a low XP Hades has a lot less health, and it's gonna get eliminated a lot quicker than the rest.
Absolutely. And we see a 2K gold lead in favor of East Buchanan. West Delaware positioning for this Pyromancer, though, trying to take these easy objectives. They have noted that East Buchanan is back, so this should be an easy Pyromancer. And then...
I really like the West Delaware playstyle. They're starting to focus more on those objectives, and yes, they may not be winning all the team fights, but
they should get an easy tower here as well.
Yeah, they're getting value off of it, and it's still winnable. I mean, the goal difference is barely 200, maybe it's 100 even.
East Buchanan, though, circling this objective, looking for a fight. West Delaware, though, in a really good spot. All that CC coming out. A huge wombo combo. The Emir, though, East Buchanan's damage is just insane.
That's the XP lead showing for you. that huge XP lead, it's gonna show, and that's where it did. They were just able to output so much more damage than West Delaware was able to do, and even though the West Delaware had a better startup fight, you can't do it when they have a level 17. And yeah, they should just get picks. But now, really, you're up by one person. They're gonna be coming back here soon. You should really start looking to back up and regroup. And this is not where you want to start playing because you could get cornered so quickly here.
Now, West Delaware is still up on gold, but again, the Emir kind of feeding. Are they able to get out?
Barely able to, but that's a thing. Now that he's so low, he has to full back up and waste time.
The Anubis there landing that CC for East Buchanan. These teams are even on gold, but the XP differential hugely in favor.
Yeah, you can start seeing the XP difference. And we can see the amount of pressure because one side has one level 17, while the East Buchanan side has 2 level 17s coming up to 3 already. You can see the XP difference, and it was showing in that team fight. Although, we're seeing West Delaware go for another objective, but
We see a full 5-person rotate, though, heading over from East Buchanan with the engage, the Fenrir. Wolf, completely fearless. East Buchanan, 2 picks to nothing. The CC is going out, but really just looking for a clean disengage. And East Buchanan, in their playstyle, will chase, but come on, just turn around and take the Fury.
I would say the Fury was already low. It had less than half HP. You got 2. They're already backing. Full commit to that Fury. You have 5 there, and your tank still has quite a bit of HP.
Instead, we're going to stand around by the tower and look at them.
I think they're waiting for minions, but minions, never mind, we're going to be...
Going for a tower dive against this heavy CC comp,
And
kind of a flex. I mean, they are able to pull it off, but really unnecessarily risky here.
Yeah, they're taking so much damage. I mean, their tank has to back. Wolf is now at half. You can't really engage now. You got 2 picks, and you just really sat there, did nothing with it.
Yep, that has been sort of the central thesis under this game, though. And honestly, East Buchanan could really take advantage of this lead. Now we finally see them backing off, going for some of these objectives.
And
But that Oni Fury, West Delaware looking at it because they're like, why aren't you there?
yeah, like, I really like West Delaware's playstyle. Yes, they're down, but once we start getting that late game, XP is not going to matter. It's going to be an even fight, and just playstyles alone, I really like West Delaware's playstyle when it comes to that later game. And even Hades only be level 14, once I see him hit level 20, this might be a whole different game.
Now, we see West Delaware really pushing toward this Phoenix, and it looks like East Buchanan is getting kited around, distracted by this Charon.
And this wave, putting in work, CCing, and making sure that they just full back away from them. And yeah, they're just shoving up left, playing a really good job here. And East Buchanan will put a ward down to give vision on the Oni Fury, but won't do anything else with it.
West Delaware really out-rotating East Buchanan. East Buchanan having the edge in these team fights. And it looks like that finally East Buchanan is going to catch up with them. But they're going to fight on West Delaware's terms. All that CC coming out. The damage, though, coming out for East Buchanan. And the CC... Oh.
CC was amazing, and that first Anubis pick really set the tone of the fight. The only problem is that Cuckoo. His ult does so much damage in a straight line, so if they're... And with West Delaware's playstyle, getting grouped up like that, it's just going to shred through everybody. And they're able to kill the wolf there.
Yeah. I mean, if I were the IGL for West Delaware, I would identify, like, look, you never in these games want to fight in a narrow corridor against heavy AoE comps.
Yeah, especially when you see this Anubis, this Cuckoo, and this Ymir, who can really punish you for being in those small corridors. I would really take the fight out in open field, like even next to the Gold Fury or in lane, but really try and take it out of this jungle. Especially with Fenrir, who can just jump over a wall, get an easy pick, and then run away. We will see East Buchanan be rotating toward this left, but all three of them just going for these small little buffs here. And
We see some circling around the Fire Giant, although no like real hard commits to it. East Buchanan really, again, just playing together, roaming around the jungle as a team looking for these picks. And they are going to find kind of a soft engage here, but really like no prio in any lanes to justify this kind of playstyle.
yeah, and we'll see that the Titans are pulling up in the right lane. This is when you should get grouped up and target that right Titan and just start pushing it down those lanes. And
instead, though, both teams look like they're squaring up for yet another team fight around the mid lane. The Thanatos getting caught out here and getting melted by East Buchanan. East Buchanan pushing forward off the advantage. The CC goes out, catching the Charon. East Buchanan moving forward, looking for another pick. They will get it. That is a big wolf. The insect coming out from the wolf, dragging the player from West Delaware into their team. East Buchanan needing to group up and push objectives. They have Titans pushing in the left lane. Instead, they're angling to push down mid.
now, once the Titans are pushed up, that should be the main lane you're going to. I like that they're finally grouping up and getting the tower, but the Titan can make your life so much easier. Eliminate the enemy team Titan first, and then push up that lane. They possibly could have got a Phoenix or been fighting for that Phoenix.
It looks like that they are moving to do it here in the 11th hour, but their Titan is at this point pretty low.
Yeah, it's already low and it's a little too late. And honestly, maybe it's time to just group up, get back, and or even start going after the Fire Giant. Because if you can sort of tell by the minimap top right, nobody's there. And I don't know if you can tell, but the Hades is all alone.
West Delaware looking to get set up here on this defense. East Buchanan just kind of letting their Titan run in. East Buchanan looking to group up here in the jungle and set up a pick, possibly, but I don't know.
It's really been top. Like, team fights have more or less always gone towards the East Buchanan side, but the advantage is almost not showing in any other aspect of the game.
East Buchanan looking like they're all backing here. Is it a greedy back, though? Oof, almost.
Maybe they'll have a lot of gold in hand, but
in the side lane, we see East Buchanan almost getting a Phoenix.
Almost getting Phoenix, and they're really punishing this Hades out. Well, that was super smart on the West Delaware side, because they almost got the Phoenix, but now they're able to push for these objectives.
Yeah, the split push there from West Delaware. If it can enable this Fire Giant, it is going to be huge for West Delaware. And it looks like East Buchanan does not know that that's what they're doing. Instead, opting to trade Fire Giant for Oni Fury.
And Oni Fury is nice, but it's not a Fire Giant. Fire Giant can change a game. Oni Fury, especially now, where we only see one or two players starting to not get their full item builds up. Oni Fury is starting to become a little irrelevant.
So East Buchanan grouping up yet again. West Delaware, though, with this Fire Giant buff. And so can West Delaware capitalize off of this? West Delaware has shown that they have the CC advantage all game. The only issue is they keep stacking up in the team fights for these Cuckoo ults, which allows East Buchanan to turn it back around. Honestly, this game is super close. At this point, it is really too close to call. Either of these teams, in the last minutes of the best of three here, it could really be anyone's game.
Yeah, and I like how East Buchanan are really staying grouped up. They understand, okay, they got the Fire Giant. We cannot take a fight on our own. We have to stay grouped up.
Are they going to be able to get the pick here on this Hades?
Hades,
Missing the CC there, though.
I think he's going to get out scot-free, but West Delaware coming in from behind. Are they going to look for a group team fight?
Charon, though,
Anubis
has
will
them
pop
set
out.
up. Will this be... Ooh, no.
Blink will come out, and
There's the Cuckoo
Cuckoo
ult,
ult.
and will get the pick. The wave coming out. I was expecting that wave a lot earlier in this fight.
Anubis doesn't have an ult. He used it in the beginning of the fight and missed with it and just had to cancel it
And
early.
Fenrir just chasing down the backline. The Wolf on the pursuit. And East Buchanan with their crazy team fight potential. Pushing forward, looking to secure this Phoenix. And honestly, look, I'm going to put that team fight on the Charon. The Charon here for West Delaware was in a beautiful spot to hit a 5k ult, hit a 5k CC, and did not capitalize.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. And now the Charon's in good position. He's starting to put in, and you see that Anubis get eliminated. And Hades will get eliminated on the West Delaware side. But also the
Cuckoo 16 and 2.
that's the
For East
XP
Buchanan.
difference is really starting to show. Because they were level 20 so much earlier, they won that team fight. And also, we'll see in the top 5, Charon they have 2,000 gold in the hand, Cuckoo does. If he gets one more item, that's going to be full build. You're going to really see some damage start getting pumped out of him. A lot more than we've already been seeing. And we can, looking at the player per damage, 2 players on this EP Cannon side are 10,000 more damage.
Yeah, that is really crazy. Again, the 2 seniors for East Buchanan, Alexander Franzen and Cedric Satgas, really coming out and really trying to carry their team to the next round of the championship here.
Yeah, and seeing, we were talking about it earlier, how they took the shock pick and we wanted to see sort of the same value. He only has 12,000 damage.
Ooh, Charon having to burn the ultimate defensively here as not to get picked. If they are picked here, and
It's really starting to get close. And although,
they're gonna get out.
yeah, and we
Although,
see a fight in the right lane, and
the
they're taking
Anubis
tower.
just doing so much work in a 1v3 situation. Will eventually go down, pushing up that lane with Prio, but
I mean, I like that you took tower, but I mean, it was a trade for a trade. They're higher. That benefits them more. And especially now, since you're missing your key execution with Thanatos ult, it's a little bad of a trade in my opinion. I understand the tower pick, but yeah. And we'll see them group up for this Pyromancer, and depending on how they use this, we could see 2 towers fall or even just 1 Phoenix fall here.
East Buchanan trying to get this light objective, but at this point, really, the team should be solidifying, looking for those picks now at this point and looking to end.
Yeah.
But here we see, again, West Delaware rotating very well. East Buchanan, though, looking to set up in that narrow corridor like they have, looking to play off of the Cuckoo ult.
Yeah, and I fully agree. Getting picks now, since it's starting to get to that 35-minute mark, getting those picks, 1 team fight, and if you are able to group up and do what East Buchanan did and push up in a lane, you could just take the Titan.
The Fenrir going in, trying to get the lockdown here. Not going to happen, though.
Sir Nuno's ult will be popped out, though. A little questionable in my opinion, but I understand a little defensive. But we'll see them push up in this mid lane here.
West Delaware just looking to take a tower, really out-rotating East Buchanan.
And yeah, and as soon as they even get a hint of East Buchanan coming in, rotate out. Super smart play. Just start ticking the towers and rotate out.
Look, I mean, here's the deal, right? If you're West Delaware, you're losing every team fight, right? Fine. But you have the CC, you have the maneuverability, right? Just outmaneuver the other team. Only engage on your terms.
100. I fully agree with you. That CC and the maneuverability they have, you could. I love the fact that they're splitting it up. They know that they're safe.
Oh, is the Thanatos caught here, though? Getting absolutely melted by East Buchanan. And the Thanatos way out of position from the rest of their team. East Buchanan grouping up here and should be looking to end, but they do not have Prio in the lane that they are looking to end on. Instead, just going and chasing more kills. They have Prio in the left lane. They almost have Prio mid lane. Why rotate to the lane where your minions are pushed the other way? And having to tank this tower, I mean, they're going to get it, but it's just an interesting decision.
You would prefer if a minion would pop up and start taking the damage because you know a team fight's going to be happening.
I mean, at this point, though, the crazy one-shot potential from East Buchanan, it's like, look, commentators, yeah, this might not be the most optimal decision, but we're super fed.
I say, yeah, you see the damage lead, and Cuckoo's coming up to 40,000 damage. It's the most. 2 players on this East Buchanan side is coming up to 40,000 damage, and is really just showing.
We
Yeah.
see the hard engage from East Buchanan on top of the Phoenix. Anubis, Cedric Satgast, another kill. And, ooh.
Maybe getting
are
an. No, he'll be backing, but
Okay.
that's risky.
I
But
was like,
possible.
look, that's something.
I say it's possible, but it's a little risky. Yeah, and seeing just East Buchanan just start regrouping, backing up, sort of what you want to see, and yeah, and the only problem is you got to make sure these 2 specifically get out because they are really pumping in the work.
Kukulkan caught.
That's what you don't want to see.
Huge shutdown there. Now immediately, rotate the fire giant. At least set up around it.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
say
know.
either get set up, like if you don't see him, do it. If you see him, with the maneuverability you have, just shove a lane. They're down. They eliminated the player that has the most damage in the game. Do something about it. That's amazing that they did that. And they're just sitting, getting regrouped, possibly going for Primal Fury here. I know. Actually, never mind. They're just gonna wait for him to come back, and in fact, East Buchanan will go after a buff.
East Buchanan getting that Pyromancer. We see West Delaware over here on the Primal Fury, although not committing to it. Look, it's like you call an objective, you need to commit to the objective.
Yeah, if somebody calls it, you have to do it.
Because see, now they are out of position for East Buchanan. The Emir ultimate comes out. The wall comes out. CC coming out. Anubis, though, will go down first in this fight. West Delaware winning this fight, able to line up their CC. They're not fighting in as narrow of a corridor now. The Wolf, though, able to get a backline pick.
And at that fight, you were able to see the power of CC and not finding the small quarters where a Cuckoo or Anubis can just eliminate the entire team.
Are they able to all in this Cuckoo, though? The Cuckoo super low, kind of a glass cannon. The Hades really trying.
But yeah, if they would eliminate that Cuckoo, that might have been endgame here. But it's a huge trade. It's not really much you could do. It's a 3v2, and they still have their Cuckoo. You gotta just get set up for another one, I guess. That's about the best you could do. And now that we're in this almost the 40-minute mark, XP and gold are not going to matter as much as they did in the earlier games. This is now going to be an even fight no matter what. And we're starting to see it waver on both sides. Whoever wins, fully wins this next team fight, is probably going to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, we are getting to the stage where, again, the XP and gold differentials, everyone at level 20, right? It has evened out. The window for East Buchanan closing out.
100%. I fully agree. The level 20 and then that window, you got to make sure to capitalize on it as long as you can. But now it's anybody's game, without fail. See the Anubis and Shock up here in mid lane. And East Buchanan will just get grouped up once again, hoping for another. I'm assuming hoping for another team fight, but
So we are waiting in anticipation because really the next big team fight is probably going to be what decides it. East Buchanan pushing as 5. We see the Fenrir going off looking for possibly a flank or looking to get vision. But West Delaware is right there. West Delaware able to kind of get vision. Here's the thing. East Buchanan does not want to engage West Delaware in a position this wide open. They cannot take advantage of the AoE that they have in that place.
yeah, I fully agree. The Cuckoo, the little like tornado cyclone, the Ymir stun, the Anubis just laser beam. You want that to be in small corridors. Lane, it's wide open.
Ooh, the Emir looking for the pick there with the wall, but will not find it. And both these teams posturing around.
You see them shoving the shotgun Saranunos out.
Ooh, all they need is a big Charon wave, and the Charon wave comes out, catching the Emir. Oh, the Thanatos going in on the backline, but the Cuckoo dishing back. It's 1-1. Whose fight is it going to be? The Emir taking a ton of damage. West Delaware doing tons of damage to East Buchanan. West Delaware pushing forward. They have the health advantage. The Cuckoo ult is down. East Buchanan, the Anubis, though, in the back line.
You gotta eliminate the Anubis first. That is gotta be the target. That Anubis
3 for 3.
The Anubis stayed alive for too long, and he got 2 all by himself. You're really showing how much he's putting into this game.
East Buchanan just outplaying West Delaware in team fights. They had a 5K wave. That should have been it. They had them exactly where they wanted them. 5-person dive the Cuckoo, and this is over. But look at who is alive at the end of this fight.
Yeah, that's not what you're wanting to see, is the damage dealers be the ones up right at the end of the fight. You want to see those glass cannons, that Anubis, that Cuckoo, eliminated. They need to be the first ones to go. Especially looking at the Anubis build, he has no self-sustain besides lifesteal. He only has lifesteal and damage. You gotta get rid of him.
And we do still see, though, East Buchanan having prio on these lanes, and West Delaware, the fact that East Buchanan was able to go even in that team fight is super telling. I mean, here's the deal, though, right? We have not yet seen that team fight. We have not yet seen that team fight that makes the difference.
Yeah, and I'm going to say West Delaware has been doing a good job splitting up lanes and pushing up and then immediately regrouping back and rotating. But as you just said,
lobby.
Yep.
Yeah. They launched it with one person on each team, or is it a spectator glitch?
I think they launched it one person each.
Okay, well, we're on standby. They're getting ready to go, but I think they screwed up their lobby.
Okay. I was just gonna say, rest of the afternoon is gonna go by really, really quick. So if either of them need a break, there might be an instance where maybe you'll step in for Ian or
Yeah,
something.
absolutely.
We are back, but it looks like that there's a little bit of a mishap with this lobby right now, so we are waiting for this to get shuffled back around here, and we will see where this all turns out. So I think that we need to actually exit.
I think you guys need to leave. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, not. It's all good.
That's like what we were pretty much doing.
Right there.
Okay.
And then,
One citizens will be on
Mm-hmm.
spectator.
yep. If you guys want to, you can flip it over to the stay tuned screen again, or run an ad or something.
All right. And we will just be right back, having to reset after a little bit of a
Therefore,
mishap there.
in conclusion, one must conclude, based on concluding facts, henceforth summarizing.
When your 2-page essay needs to be a 3-page essay, it can be stressful. Reset yourself with dairy.
So, to reiterate,